welcome to the Rob Burgess Show. I'm, of course, your host, Rob Burgess. On this, our 214th episode, our returning guest is Ash Burgess. You first heard Ash Burgess on 26 previous episodes of the podcast. For a complete list, check the show notes. Ash Burgess has a dusty degree in religious studies and an appetite for both high and low culture. She strives to celebrate the best of every season with her young children. Follow her on Instagram at Ash Burgess, ASHBURGESS, all one word, and subscribe to her YouTube channel by searching for Ash Burgess, 2 words. And now on to the show. Welcome back to the Rob Burgess Show, Ash Burgess.
Oh, thank you, Rob Burgess.
Happy almost Easter.
I know, we're really cutting it down to the line as far as getting this episode filmed.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, I know I always say filmed, and you always correct me. There is no visual footage.
Much to your chagrin.
Yes.
Well, we should stay right off the bat since you brought it up. How many views is your Easter video up to now?
I think I'm about 4.5K. I would expect it to slow down after this, though. You know,
yeah,
I think the bulk of my views probably come in the couple weeks before Easter. You know, right after St. Patrick's Day, leading up right till, you know, the point when people are really starting to think like, okay, it's time to gather the Easter basket stuff. That's when people are going to watch a video about what to put in a kid's Easter basket. And then up until, you know, I think, you know, there are still some people that are like probably tonight finishing up their shopping. Wow. Those might not be the kind of people that put the planning into it to like watch a video about it. I don't know.
That does take a little pre-planning.
On the other hand, I mean, no shade at people that are like still putting it together. It's just, you know, I had to get it done obviously a long time ago so I could get the video up.
I mean, I feel like, you know, for me personally, putting, you know, your Easter basket together, I feel like much like we were talking about during the Christmas episode about how you know, do a lot of online shopping. I do more of the hand-to-hand in-store. But there were certain things I had to order to make sure I had, like, that wouldn't be gettable necessarily in a store. Or if they were, they wouldn't be the sale price that they might be online.
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing is that, I mean, first of all, I don't really go into stores. But second of all, even if I was going to go into stores, once you've online shopped a lot, you see that the same thing, even at the same store online, will often be cheaper.
Yeah.
Even if you order it for pickup. Like, sometimes when I'm getting stuff for the kids, I'll order it for pickup just because it's going to be way cheaper than if you just actually go into the store to buy it.
Yes. But, yeah, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. I'm happy. I'm happy that, you know, it's gotten a lot of views, and I've gotten a few residual, you know, not residual, that's the wrong word. I've gotten a few views, I'm sure, off of the success of that on some of my older videos, which is nice, and I've taken on a few new subscribers. So, you know, I'm always happy, you know, to see my channel growing and developing like that.
You just cracked 300 subscribers.
Yeah, I think I'm at like 305 now, somewhere around there. So, yeah.
More? That's great.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's exciting, and then there's this sort of momentum built, but I do think that Easter and Christmas are the biggest times as far as pulling in viewers. That's when people are really searching for shopping videos. I do have a lot of really exciting videos coming up, though. I have all the stuff ready to film a video of what we're getting our youngest for her 2nd birthday. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, and this is really just like, for us, we're just kind of going down like dominoes. We've got Easter. Then we've got, immediately following, we've got several other family birthdays outside of our house, as well as we've got Lilac's birthday and your birthday. And then the next month we've got Emerald's birthday. And then just, you know, in July we've got, you know, the double birthday, me and our oldest. So it's a lot. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of exciting videos coming up as far as...
Don't forget Mother's Day.
Oh yeah, there's Mother's Day, there's Earth Day, that's not really... Day. Yes, and Mother's Day and Father's Day, I mean, I don't know if... Well, I suppose I could do a Mother's Day video. I've seen a video before where someone did a video of, like...
You're not the one that's doing...
No, but
things are being done for you.
But I've seen a video before where it was, like, things that I've suggested to my husband to get me for Mother's Day. I actually found that video very helpful. I actually pulled several ideas from that list in the past that I used, when, you were
Does it mean
looking
you
for,
have to put me
stocking
on
stuffers
blast?
and stuff. No, I'm not putting you on blast. I'm just saying that I think that a lot of women, just as a lot of adult men, struggle to think of ideas of what they want for themselves. It's so much easier to shop for a child because children need a lot of things. I mean, they're constantly changing sizes, so they need clothes and stuff, obviously. But also children have both the desire and the time for toys. And generally, children like a lot of different toys. By the time you get to be an adult, you know how it is. You don't have that much time for anything outside, whatever limited range of interest you've decided to focus in on. So it makes it a little bit harder when people want some fresh ideas for what to get for you. So I have found videos like that helpful. Where it was like, here's some things I've asked my husband for like a stocking stuffer or Mother's Day or something. So perhaps I'll do a video like that, but I don't know. But I could do one for Father's Day. I don't think I've done a Father's Day one before, but I could. I'm definitely doing the kids' birthday ones, because part of the reason I like doing those is just to be able to look back at those videos later and kind of remember what I got for them too. Mm-hmm. So it's to be helpful to other people, but it's also for me. I enjoy kind of looking back on that,
Yeah. Then you got a lot of comments, too.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Emerald.
Yes. Well,
a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure because Easter is Emerald's favorite holiday. I'm not even sure...
She doesn't really stop talking about it all year.
I guess I think that we just made the first Easter that she can really remember. It was, so good that from there... Because I can't remember a time... I mean... Obviously, she, probably didn't notice her first couple of Easters, but I think since she's been about 2, it's been solidly her favorite holiday. So at least for the past several years. I
feel like the day after Easter last year, she was like, I'm looking forward to Easter next year.
She just loves, she loves toys and candy, and I do a extra nice Easter basket.
You do?
I know, I like candy too. But I mean, I make a nice Easter basket, and I think the kids really respond to it.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's get down to it. Let's see. Let's get down to what all the thousands of people are learning about Easter basketry. Like, what do you have a philosophy of Easter basketry?
I do, actually, and that's part of why. Wow, I've got a lot to say about Easter baskets too. She's really excited because I hung up a banner that says Happy Easter, and she thinks and it's kind of it's an arch, but what is it if the arch is going downwards? But she sees the arch shape, and it's colorful, so she keeps calling it a rainbow, and she's super psyched about it, and she wants to tell us all about it. But anyway, going back to my philosophy of Easter basketry, to me, I take gift giving very seriously, and I take Easter basketry really seriously because I believe in setting some parameters for yourself that can kind of help yourself to shop and also to achieve the overarching feel that you want. And so for me with Easter, I think that most of the items should actually fit into a container, whether that is a basket or some other sort of receptacle, but whatever you're using as the Easter basket, everything you're giving the person should fit in the basket, and then you could potentially have maybe 1 or 2 larger items sitting beside the basket. But I don't think it's good if you have a basket and then there's 7 things sitting near the basket, or you have to create an annex secondary basket. That's a no for me. So that's one of the parameters I'm working within, is that other than being really choosy about, what is going to be the big thing outside the basket, I'm really looking for things that will actually go inside the basket. So that already sets some limits on, how big the items can be. And also, obviously I have to figure out the basket too. I know some people use the same basket again every year. And that was originally my intent, because that was what my mom always did. She had certain baskets for us, and, she just, stored them in her closet or whatever. And then we would actually set the basket out, kind of like a stocking. We would put the empty basket out on, the kitchen table, and then in the morning the basket would be filled, and it felt really magical.
The Easter Bunny.
Yeah, we didn't do the Easter Bunny. But in theory, if the Easter Bunny had come, they would have been filling the basket in the night. I mean, we knew it was my mom.
Yes.
Even though I can remember being, like, so excited about it that, like, even though I knew that the Easter Bunny wasn't coming, I still kind of thought, like, maybe if I, like, looked at it at the right moment, it would actually be the Easter Bunny, you know? Like, you know when you're a kid and you just get so excited about something that it's like you almost become, like, slightly delusional?
I remember my brother
Yeah.
claimed to have seen the Easter Bunny one year, and my parents were like, "Oh,
Yeah, no, but
tell us more."
Yeah, no, it can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had, you know, we would set the basket, and it was kind of like a nice sort of traditional, like, reusing of the same basket thing. And I originally intended to do that with our kids. And for a variety of reasons, that has never come together. I mean, I think the first couple years that we did Easter baskets, every year was like, this is the basket. And then the next year I'd be like, no. For some reason, that wasn't going to be the basket for the next year. Like, I wasn't totally happy with it, or it was too small, and so it was really hard, because since I like most of the stuff to actually fit inside the basket, and I like to, for example, give picture books, I need a basket that can actually encompass a picture book, and like a lot of baskets aren't quite wide enough, so I think I had that problem with some of the baskets I originally used, or just aesthetically they were displeasing to me. And then I'm not sure if I've given up on this fantasy totally or not, but for a long time I was kind of chasing, I feel like the sort of ultimate, like, sort of semi-bougie, kind of, like, low-key, like, normcore fantasy of Easter basketry is to get, like, the Pottery Barn Easter baskets with the, like, the liners that have the kids' names embroidered on them. But those are so expensive. They're, like, so expensive. And the thing is, they would be more in range, like, if I had bought one basket per child, like, each year that they were born.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I would have to buy, like, 3 baskets simultaneously. And when you add up the cost of the baskets and the liners, it would, like, literally be hundreds of dollars. Mm-hmm. And that feels like too much to spend on Easter baskets. Yeah. However, then we would never have to buy them again. And that's what people always say to justify when they finally do get them, is that, like, we'll never have to buy these again. However, half the time you do have to buy them again, and this is another reason why I haven't gotten them yet. Because if you want them all to match, and then you have another child because maybe you weren't quite done when you bought the baskets, but then maybe they discontinue the pattern of liner that you used for the other kids. Mm-hmm. So then, in order to get everyone to match, like, either you have to accept having some people match, but then, like, whoever came last not matching, or you have to totally rebuy all the baskets so that everyone can match. So at this point, it's like, first of all, I don't know if I ever want to spend hundreds of dollars on Pottery Barn Easter baskets. Although I haven't, like I said, totally given up on that. But second of all, at this point, I feel like if I am going to do that, I better just wait until we're totally done having kids. And then get all the Easter baskets at once, because then there's absolutely no excuse to ever have to rebuy them, and we're just set forever.
Yeah, as long as we're, like, potentially someone else could be coming, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we have to wait until we've, like, really, like, locked the door closed, you know?
I mean, this last one snuck up on us.
Yes, but I mean, we're still planning to have at least one more. So, you know, I'm saying until we have, like, the 4 people that we're intending to have, like, we're not getting any monogrammed matching items. Because it's just, you know what I mean? Like, if we get the monogram matching items now, even, like, as soon as another person be born, they will somehow discontinue whichever print we've picked.
Obviously.
Like, that's just how things work.
Of course, forcing you to rebuy.
That's exactly what I've just been saying. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's why we haven't done the Pottery Barn ones. Mm-hmm. And what I've ended up doing, though, is just using different containers every year. And I started with more Eastery looking containers, and then the last few years, what I've done, which has worked really well, is to get more storage basket kind of containers, which I really like, because then I use whatever those storage baskets are just as storage, and we obviously always need more storage for, like, our kids' stuff. Mm-hmm. Just because, I mean, there's all the different little collections and toys and various things, and, you know. And I do like that because I can get kind of the wire baskets, and I feel like those are kind of more of, like, a Pinteresty, bloggy kind of aesthetic, mm-hmm. which I do like. So yeah, that's my very long explanation about what's happening with the actual containers. So yeah, the containers, I have, like, that whole thing of everything has to go in the container. And then Another parameter that I set that I think really sets my Easter baskets apart from a lot of more average Easter baskets is that I think that the items in the basket should be Eastery. Which means that not only do they have to fit in the basket, you can't just get whatever you want that can fit in the basket. And this is not, I would flex on this for like an adult, but this is for children. So things that are not Eastery, like, don't go in the basket. Like, when I say Eastery, I mean, like, things for spring and summer, yes. To back it up, so everything's got to fit in the basket. And it needs to be Eastery. So not just anything that you might otherwise get that would fit in the basket. Like, things should be pastel. Like, I'm going to name off a lot of qualities, and not every item has to be all of these qualities, but they should embody at least one or ideally multiple of these qualities. Pastel. Bird. Like chick, duck, rabbit, unicorn, dinosaur, egg. Things that are like springy and summery and shiny and happy. Rainbows. And like flowers. You know? Baby animals. You see what I'm saying? So there are things that the kids might like that might fit in the basket that are not getting in because they're not Eastery, and so they don't belong in the Easter basket. I also like to go for kind of a color palette that I'm working with, and I flex on the color palette a little bit. I'm not saying everything is like the same color, but I do try to think about colors and have a few main colors for each basket so that everything will look good together. And I also like to maybe pick some sub-themes within the basket. Like, for example, for the girls this year, I did kind of a daisy theme. Daisies are very popular right now. So I have several daisy-themed items in each of the baskets. Ooh, mermaids are also acceptable. Things that are like happy and fun and shiny.
How does your Easter basketry differ from your stocking stuffing?
When I stocking stuff...
That is another... I think we were even talking about this the other day, that it's like, it's a finite space. Mm-hmm. You have to think about sizes of things much more.
Yes, I think there's definitely a lot in common there. And I think you could definitely draw ideas from the Easter basket video for stockings and draw, stocking ideas from an Easter basket. So there's a lot of crossover. I would say the biggest difference is that with the stocking, I don't like things to necessarily be too Christmassy because I'm more thinking that they'll be used post-Christmas. And I feel like things that are Christmassy are so fun all through December, and then post-Christmas, a lot of them feel kind of like meh, like you don't necessarily want to pull them out. Although I do wear my Christmas socks all year long.
I noticed you looking at the nutcracker when you were saying.
As I was hanging up the Easter banner earlier, I didn't notice that there's a nutcracker way up on a really high shelf above a cabinet that we kind of like forgot to put away.
It's kind of out of our normal eyesight, so it's easy to like blend into like the...
Now that I know it's there, though, it's going to be leering at us
as we
like couldn't the Easter ham.
It's like dun 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 dun.
Yes. But no, so, like, you know what I mean? Like, Christmas-themed clothes and knickknacks and thing don't feel as fun after Christmas. Except for my Christmas socks. I made an exception for them. Whereas the Easter things that go in the Easter basket will still feel fun after Easter, because when I think Eastery, I'm really saying springtimey and summertimey, not necessarily like Easter, like hardcore. Mm-hmm. So those will still be fun all through the spring and summer. So I would say the Easter basket is different in that way. Another way that the Easter basket things are different is that I don't restrict myself so much like with color or with going together. Like, I don't think that the things in the stocking need to go together, because I wrap the individual things in the stocking, and they're more just like small things that are in the stocking. Like, kind of like, I think of the stocking as sort of a miniature version of under the tree. Like, the gifts under the tree don't all have to work together. Although there should be some sort of an overarching plan about, like, kind of fulfilling a general, like, array of presents. But it's not like they all have to coordinate. Whereas the Easter basket gifts, well, I don't necessarily do, like, a hard theme where everything coordinates. I do sort of think about what's going to look good together in the basket. Probably partially because they are unwrapped, they are all in the basket together.
Well, I guess a main structural difference is that a stocking is only open on the top and covered with most of the rest of it.
Yeah, so it's not really matter how the different items look all crammed in there.
It's more of an open top. It's like an open face sandwich for the Easter
Yes,
basket.
like I feel like in a stocking you could have like wool socks and like a bar of soap and like some kind of random like thingamajig or whatever, whereas the Easter basket is more about the presentation of the whole basket. Yeah, I think there are some differences. I do think that size-wise you can get a lot of ideas for either one, but I do feel like for the Easter basket I'm going more for an overall vibe, whereas I'm sort of less leaning into that for the stocking.
Yeah, and the stocking, as we've discussed before, is kind of secondary to some of the tree gifts and other gifts. So there's not really that possibility of an annex as much. I mean, there's things that won't fit in the basket that you can put outside, but like a basket should be and could be self-contained. Yes.
Also, cost-wise, I spend a lot more on the baskets than I do on the stockings, because the stockings, I see them as kind of like a like nibbly. I see them as kind of like a nibbly appetizer before the tree gifts, like big dinner. Mm-hmm. And the tree gifts are like, I mean, I always think it's so funny when people call the gifts under the tree gifts, but to differentiate, it does make sense.
Do you not call them the tree gifts?
I don't know. It just sounds so like.
Does that not make sense?
I think that the problem is that just like. I've seen certain gifting conventions where there's other, like, names for, like, for example, some people that do, like, very religious, they'll do, like, a frankincense gift and a myrrh gift and a gold gift.
Wow.
And so I feel like whenever I say tree gifts, I also kind of imagine it in the same way that people are like, this is the myrrh gift and this is, like, the frankincense. But yes, I feel like the tree gifts are where we put, like, more of, like, we spend more money and there's usually more of them and they're bigger. Whereas I know some people, I think, put anything that can fit in the stocking. Like, you know what I mean? Like a keys to a car or like a digital watch or like if it fits in the stocking, you can put it on in there.
When you don't have a budget, you know.
No, but I'm saying like if I was giving
make
someone.
You can make a stocking as spectacular as you want to.
But what I
Tiffany
mean though.
fits very nicely in the stocking.
But what I mean though is that I don't think that.
I put Tiffany under the tree.
Yes, I'm just saying I don't think. But that's not just about. It's not just about like what you can afford so much as where you want to spend it. Because I'm saying like I wouldn't put Tiffany in the stocking unless I was going to put something even better under the tree. If the Tiffany is the best...
That's when you could put a car under the tree.
But I'm saying if I'm putting something super nice, it's probably going to go under the tree regardless of size. Whereas the things in the stockings should be like nice, but in like a more modest way. Mm-hmm. You know? Whereas I do spend more on the Easter baskets. However, a lot of the things I spend the most on in the Easter baskets are secretly things that I was going to have to get the kids anyway, like shoes. Like, I always get them some kind of new shoes for Easter. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, if not always, but, like, usually the most expensive thing in the basket. But those are something that we were going to have to get them anyway.
But they'll still be excited to get them in an Easter basket.
Exactly. It's more exciting for them to get them in the Easter basket. And... you know, it's more exciting to have them in the Easter basket versus me just kind of being like, well, here are the shoes, you know?
Yeah.
And the same with, like, I put, like, water bottles in there. Mm-hmm. And, like, I was going to have to get them new water bottles anyway. But instead, they'll be like, ooh, the Easter water bottle, you know? Mm-hmm. And I didn't do this year, but I've often done things like toothbrushes and, like, socks and underwear and things like that do, you know, the cost of all that kind of stuff adds up. But it is stuff that I would have bought within the next few months anyway.
Emerald kind of bullied me a little bit about my basket tonight.
Oh no! What do you mean?
About the bunny.
Oh, she wasn't bullying you. She was just, you know how Emerald always wants to make sure that everyone has what they need.
Yes.
Like, she's the one who always, like, if somebody is not home, like, if you're not home for dinner because you're working late or something, she's always the one that will be, like, worried about you and be like, make sure that Daddy has dinner for when he comes home. She's always the one that will, like, remind people to, like, eat breakfast if she, like, doesn't see them eating, or, like, tell me that I, like, if I, like, was, like, having a headache, she's the one who would be like, Mommy, perhaps you should have a few sips of water. Mm-hmm. You know, so she just always wants to make sure everyone's taken care of. But yes, she did say, what exactly did she say? She was like...
She mentioned it a couple times.
She's worried that you didn't get me a chocolate bunny, even though I told you that I don't really eat the...
Well, don't worry, spoiler alert, you have a chocolate bunny now, so don't worry.
This is just to appease Emerald so that she doesn't
I
fly
couldn't have her, like I was literally at the store, like, do I want to, like, have to explain tomorrow to Emerald why I do not have...
But she just is worried because she feels like that's one of the very traditional things we always put in there.
If she didn't get a chocolate bunny, I think she would be upset.
She would be devastated. Okay. Like, I think part of what she's looking forward to is just the massive amount of chocolate that can only arrive in rabbit-shaped form. I should
have taken a picture of it today, but, like, the only chocolate bunnies that were left at Meijer were literally the ones that had the head snapped off. Like,
aww,
there was, like, 30 so of them, and they were all, like...
I'm so sad for the person that just kind of sighs and buys that and, like, tries to, like...
I know.
Tries to maybe, like, prop the head back on or something.
Oh, no. Yeah. A little melted chocolate.
I mean, I don't know if everybody does the chocolate bunny in the Easter basket, but I feel like for us that's a gold standard.
It is. I mean, obviously, Emerald explained it to me.
We did have to emergently get some jelly beans because she also mentioned that the jelly beans were...
Mm-hmm.
thing she was looking forward to the most.
Definitely. But I think the hardest thing this year has been filling the eggs.
Filling eggs is always the hardest. It's so difficult, especially when you have little kids.
Also, I think you're right about loose candy in the eggs. It's a fool's game, you know?
It is, because, okay, for years I would just put, like, loose jelly beans and cereal pieces and, like, little, like, bunny grams, you know, the, like, supposedly healthier imposter, like, Teddy grams and, like, things like that. And that seems like a great idea because it's, like, the snack food that you maybe even have in your pantry anyway, and the kids like it and it's fine. But what happens when they're egg hunting is then they immediately sit down with their eggs and they start opening the eggs. And as they're opening, there's just, like, random loose cereal and, like, jelly beans and stuff just, like, pouring out and mixing together and getting ground into the carpet and going everywhere. And it's gross and disgusting and terrible. And then as I was getting ready to, you know, fill the eggs for this year, I was, like, rinsing them. And I was trying to, like, rinse, like, weird melted jelly bean gunk out of them. Because inevitably there's always as many fall out and just get eaten, or they eat too many, you know. There's always some that are just left behind and somehow you miss it when you're packing the stuff away and then they've, like, melted into the thing. And so, yeah, I'm done with loose candy. Only prepackaged things or other things that are just, like, stable. Although this year we've gone real basic, and I think the kids will be fine.
They're gonna love it.
We've got the M&Ms.
Yes.
In little packets.
Yes.
Something all of them can have. We have Band-Aids. Kids love Band-Aids. And then
they always want to put Band-Aids on when they don't need them.
Yeah, and then I think we're just going to do some pennies.
Yeah.
We have to keep those away from Lilac, though, so she doesn't choke on them. But the kids will be super excited, because they're at the point where they're just kind of getting to have, like, a few dollars to their names.
Shout out to my mom for sending them each a $5 bill, which was, like, the most exciting thing that's ever happened.
That was, like, probably, I think if they were making, like, a journal of this week, like, that would be, like, way at the top of, the splendors of, like, receiving $5 bills and Easter cards in the mail. 5 whole hours inside an Easter card. That's... I know, right? Emerald, she was glowing. She was like, good news, Daddy. But, so I think we're going to put some pennies in there. And we're also going to do, for Lilac, we got some socks, because she can't really have the pennies. She ran over because she heard us talking about her. Well, I'm really excited, though, because even though I know she was at Easter last year, I feel like she wasn't really, like, a fully engaged participant the way that she was this year.
Yeah.
Like, I know last year she was almost one. Bless you. I know last year she was almost one, and I know she kind of hunted for some eggs, but I feel like she wasn't, like, really fully able to be into it. I think this year she's really going to be really able to really have a great time.
Well, I just always feel like there's too much emphasis placed on the babies first, fill in the blank.
No, babies, by the time they get to be, like, 1, 2, 3...
For most of that, and, like, they're not
say they're a lump, that's a little harsh.
But you know what I mean? They're not as lively as they are. Like, she's, you know, look at what she's doing now. I mean... Well,
they're just not as outwardly focused. I mean, I think when a baby's a newborn or even,
but they're
like,
not
their first
supposed
year
to be.
or so...
They're small. Like, they're still learning about
I'm just
the world.
saying, I wouldn't say they're a lump. I would just say they're, like...
Okay, like, lump may have been a little bit harsh.
It's very harsh. I don't think that any baby I've ever produced has, like, been a lump. I've seen some babies out and about that I would describe that way, but...
They're less self-sufficient. And they're far less
Well, they're
mobile.
not really wanting to engage with, like, a strange new holiday. They're really, for them, it's exciting enough just to, like, eat and drink and sleep and, you know. But I feel like now, you know, she's going to want to, you know, hunt for the eggs and all. I mean, she is, like, riding a small bike across the kitchen and shouting at Baby Beluga right now. So.
I was saying, she's definitely feeling it this year.
Oh, yeah. I think it helps, too, that she's at the point where she's capable enough to, like, almost do a lot of the stuff that the bigger kids can do, and she desperately wants to. So whatever their excitement is and whatever they're into, she's just going to be, like, feeding off of that.
What other candy is traditional to you?
To me, like, that I personally find traditional or that I think is traditional to others. Because
either. For
me, the chocolate bunny is, like, just the kind of the iconic traditional Easter candy. Like, and, like, I'm even past the point where I personally feel like I need one. But my grandma would always send me a chocolate bunny in the mail. And so I have, like, very good memories about that. And so I always make sure that the kids have one because I think it's, like, a nice thing. But I know that Peeps are a huge deal to a lot of people, and I've never gotten into them. I mean, no one in my family, I think, likes them. I mean, like, no one, like, in my original family, and then no one, I mean, you don't like them, so no one in our, like, current family either.
No, I've disliked Peeps from the first time I ever had them.
I think, though, I was disappointed by them when I finally did taste them, because I actually do like the taste of marshmallow. But to me,
they aren't marshmallow.
They're not. But they're supposed to be marshmallow. But they're like, if marshmallow was flavorless, that would be a Peep. And I just don't understand why people like them.
Consistency is all wrong.
But the flavor is off. Like marshmallow has.
Yes, the flavor's off too. It's all bad.
But I do think that some people like really, really like them.
I think people like the aesthetics too. The way it looks is a big part.
They are cute. I mean, if I liked them, I think I would be very excited because they're very cute. And they come in an array of colors. I did see something that I was really tempted to get for the kids this year, but I didn't because of my general disliking of Peeps.
What?
But it was like a little cardboard castle, and actually I think it's an imposter version inspired by, you know how Emerald has that Miley mouse castle?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like super like high-end, like boutique-y, like it's a little cardboard castle, and it comes with, like, a little, like, princess mouse in it. And I swear the Peeps people obviously, like, ripped this off for their marketing idea. Because it was, like, a cardboard, like, obviously not as nice as the Miley one. It was, like, a cardboard castle, and then the castle, like, the interior castle part, I think had, like, maybe 4, like, bunny Peeps in it. And then there was, like, a stuffed bunny Peep kind of sticking up of, like, the top of the castle part, which was, like, a turret, like, with the, what do you call the pieces of the castle where there's, like, a space between them?
You know,
that's
a turret.
Traditional castle edging.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then it's kind of sitting and kind of coming up out of the top, there was a Peep. And then the whole thing would be either, like, the castle and the Peep. Like, one of them was blue, and it had, like, more of, like, a, I guess, masculine-looking crown. And then the other was pink, and it had, like, a more sort of princessy-looking tiara.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to keep the stuffed animal and you can eat the peeps that are inside. But it was obviously ripped off from the Miley Mice people. I don't know if Miley knows about this. I'm sure they've noticed and they're upset. But anyway, I almost got it, though, because it actually was adorable, and I knew that Emerald would recognize it as being, like, the same as her castle, but she wouldn't think, like, oh, this is a ripoff. She would just probably add the castle in as, like, an annex onto her castle and have, like, the hideous peeps creature, like, move in beside her, like, little bespoke Tweety Mice.
Oh, of course.
I didn't, like, that was an area where I restrained myself, though.
That's good.
I had already purchased stuffed animals for the kids, and I didn't want to add it. That's another thing. I try not to be too redundant in things. Like, if I've already bought one stuffed animal, I probably won't buy, like, a second stuffed animal.
Mm-hmm.
And if somehow I talk myself into buying a second stuffed animal, I'm definitely buying a third. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Although I did end up with 2 different kinds of bubbles this year.
Mm.
But that was only because at first I couldn't get the bubbles that I wanted, which were the bubble wands that have the little toppers that look like spring animals. Like, 2 of them are bunnies and one we got has, like, a chick. And then I saw these really, really cute ones that are like ice cream cones. So we got those, but then I was able to get the bubble wands with the animals also.
Mm.
But that is okay in my mind because those are 2 different styles of bubble compartment. And you know how kids just, like, half the time they're trying to blow the bubble, they're holding the bubble container in one hand, and they totally tilt the entire thing out, and they scream and scream and scream. So you really can't have too many bubbles anyway.
Yeah, it happens a lot, I feel like. In my experience.
Something that I promised myself I wasn't going to buy this year, but then ended up getting was chalk. And I do think that's not a candy, but still an Easter basket staple. Like the bubbles and the chalk, you gotta have bubbles and chalk.
You're like allergic to chalk.
It makes me itch so badly, and I didn't realize it for a long time because I was fine with it. Like, I don't remember having a problem with it, like, when I was, like in college when teachers would draw on the chalkboard. I don't remember having a particular issue with it. And then when our kids have used sidewalk chalk, it's not my allergicness to it that makes me hate it. It's just everything else about it. But but I have realized since I got the kids a easel with, like, a blackboard, and I have realized that I am actually terribly allergic to chalk, and it makes my whole body itch. So I've stopped using the blackboard side. But anyway, I hate chalk because I don't like the texture of it. Like, the feeling of holding it in my hands is terrible.
They have holders.
Yes, that's true. I also don't like the noise that it makes as it, like, scrapes against the sidewalk. I also don't like how it gets all over the children. Like, there's always colored dust on everything, and it says that it's washable, but it always stains all the clothes that it's in the wash with. Like, I just despise it. It's one of those things that I, for years, didn't admit to myself because I was like, everyone is supposed to like this, and I finally admitted a few years ago I hate it. And I said to myself, this year, I'm not getting any chalk. But then I saw that they had unicorn horn chalk at a lower price point. Okay, I've always wanted the unicorn horn chalk. There's this really, really, really expensive, like, really, like, boutique-y brand of chalk. It's called Twee.
Mm.
And they make, like, okay, like, I'm talking about, like, a $45, like, box of chalk that looks like pieces of pizza. Cool. Or, like, a solar system. And they have unicorn horn chalk that I've always been really tempted to get. Because I know the kids would get a kick out of it being unicorn horn shaped. But the super expensive unicorn horn chalk is like $14 for a packet. And I can't spend $14 on sidewalk chalk. Mm-hmm. I mean, that would not be a good purchase. But then when I saw that Crayola had unicorn horn chalk at, like, a much more, like, affordable price point. And when I thought to myself, you know, we could take the chalk to the park and use it on a sidewalk that's, like, not near our house.
You would still have to hear it touching.
I can deal with that if I don't have to also deal with it, like, coming into the house. Mm. So anyway, yes, I said I wasn't getting chalk, and I did. But going back to what you said about candy, I guess Emerald thinks jelly beans are the Easter candy.
She asked for them specifically.
She did. We had to emergency get them because she, you know... Mm-hmm. She was like, I'm most looking forward to the jelly beans. And I was like, emergency shopping. But I think that, you know, just as long as the kids have some chocolates. And I feel like we used to get some weird things like gumdrops and stuff like that no one likes.
I feel like, were chocolate coins a...
Yeah, I think we would get chocolate coins.
What about chocolate crucifix?
We've never done the chocolate crucifix, but I know that you and I have spoken about it at great length because it bothers us both.
I feel like it's been featured on this podcast before. So.
It has, but I think that, it deserves being spoken about again. My issue with the chocolate crucifix is that I feel like it's like a near miss of, I think someone tried to do something, they had a certain idea, and it doesn't quite gel for me, because I see where you're going when you're like,
reason for the season. Yes,
like this is like the chocolate rabbit for someone who, it's the equivalent of like, when someone gets mad when you say happy holidays because you want to be like Merry Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's like someone who fears that the chocolate rabbit is like too pagan and takes you away from the true meaning of the holiday. But they still want to have the large chocolate item because they don't want to give up on anything.
Side note, are there any Jewish people that get mad when people don't say Happy Hanukkah?
I don't think so.
Or is it strictly like just people for Christmas?
I think it's strictly people for Christmas.
But the Jewish people would have just as much right to complain in that case, right? I mean,
I feel like they're a little more like maybe chill about it. I don't know.
Apparently, because I've never heard anyone say that. But they have just as much right?
I mean,
you didn't mention my specific thing.
Yeah, I mean, but what is it about right? I mean, I think the whole thing is ridiculous because, of course, I always before, when I was an innocent young child, before I was aware of this whole heated debate about saying Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas. My assumption, as I came to understand the term, was that when people say Happy Holidays, it's an umbrella term encompassing all of the holidays that come kind of in rapid succession. So even if you are a Christian and you're wishing someone a happy Christian experience, you could just be referring to Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, which all kind of come all together, wrapped up in a pretty tight clip. I mean, I think by Thanksgiving, a lot of people already have a lot of their Christmas planning done, or at least they're getting real serious about it. And you always think about New Year's when Christmas is passing. It's part of a whole package deal. I mean, there's even that song. You know that song where they sing about all the different holidays? Happy Holidays. Yes. Happy Holidays. Yeah, in that song, I think they even mentioned something about Halloween.
That one song, what's it? I met a man who went from Tennessee.
Yes.
That's a Thanksgiving song.
Yeah, all I'm saying is,
people co-opted, because it's all the same. As a child,
I always thought Happy Holidays just meant happy season that we're in which you're probably celebrating several holidays. And yes, it does also nicely include people that might be celebrating other holidays now, but not necessarily or specifically. It's just kind of hey, happy, you're probably celebrating something around now. But anyway, so I do think that's the equivalent of Easter. Yeah. You're afraid that the bunny isn't Jesus-y enough. But to me, the chocolate cross misses the mark because to me, there's something...
Which side of the cross do you like to eat first?
I mean, to me, it's yes. Just nibble... I go
for the head.
Nibble right in there. It's just... To me, that's uncomfortable. I would feel maybe I was committing a crime. I would feel I was possibly doing something wrong if I, gnawed into, the side of the crucifix.
It's so devout that it almost becomes sacrilegious?
Well, it's kind of if you went into somebody's house and they had, a random rabbit figurine, you might, absentmindedly fiddle with it or something if you're, the kind of person that fiddles with things in other people's homes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that would be not, super weird. If you went into somebody's house and they have a crucifix on the wall, it would be pretty weird if you, went over and started, poking it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you saw, a random decor piece of, a rabbit... It wouldn't be a huge faux pas, I feel if you were oh, what a fun rabbit, and gave it a little tap on its ear or something.
But I feel maybe would the pagans say the same?
No.
About, no, wait, wouldn't. Whoever made up the bunny thing.
I don't think so, no.
Why?
Because the bunny itself is more of just a symbol of springtime. I think the difference is that the bunny isn't supposed to be a god. If it was a specific god...
Lays eggs. Goes to everyone's house.
It's not a god, though, and it's not divine. It's not a child of God or
supernatural.
But being supernatural is not the same as being a central deity to your religion. Like, even if you're a pagan, the bunny itself...
Are you saying because they're polytheistic kind of...
No, that's not what I'm saying. The bunny isn't supposed to be a god. It's just like a general springtime bunny. There are some, like, stories involving a bunny and, like, various, goddesses and things like that. But I don't think that it's that the bunny is specifically supposed to be, like, you're worshipping it. I'm saying, like... I presume that if you would buy a chocolate crucifix, you also worship Jesus.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it would be really messed up if you bought the chocolate crucifix and you don't worship Jesus and you're, like, eating it, like, spitefully or something.
Yeah.
That would be even worse. But my point, though, being that pagans who are celebrating a spring holiday around Easter time aren't worshiping a giant Easter rabbit. So it's not the same at all.
Okay.
It isn't.
Okay.
It's totally different. I mean, because, for example, by that line of thinking, it would be wrong to have Easter eggs.
No, that's... Hey, rabbits don't lay eggs.
The Easter rabbit does.
But it's not a god?
No. Just because something is magically able to lay eggs doesn't mean it's a god.
Rabbits generally do not lay eggs.
First of all, there are disagreements about the origins of the Easter Bunny. And second of all, the closest to a god involvement in the origin of the Easter Bunny that I've encountered is a story in which a goddess saved a bird's life, and then, but in saving its life, she turned it into a bunny, but then it was sad because it wouldn't be able to lay eggs anymore. So then she gave it the power to lay eggs, kind of as, like, a consolation prize, and then it got to, like, go live in the moon. But that wasn't like, now we will worship this rabbit. It was more like, this rabbit is friends with the goddess who, like, helped it. So you're even if you were, like, practicing...
So is it a god only if someone worships it?
Yes. I mean, can you be a god if no one worships you?
Sure.
Hey, God over here. Excuse me.
What if you don't,
like to gain some followers? No, I think you're
like and subscribe.
You're only a god if someone else agrees that you're a god, right?
I'm asking you.
I think gods are only gods because there's power invested in them. Or even if no one worships you, if it's understood that at some point in time you were worshipped and considered to be a god. Like, there are gods that
What if you used to be worshipped and you're not worshipped anymore? Do you not go from being a god to not a god?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that there are some gods that we know about that were worshipped probably in ancient times that very few people are worshipping currently. But we still refer to them as gods because there was an established time when their stories were written when there were people that considered them to be gods. I'm saying if no one considers you to be a god, nor have they ever in the past, you're not a god. No one has ever considered the Easter Bunny to be a god.
Okay. You're telling me that there's a bunny that lays eggs, and okay, maybe that's not a god. Maybe it is, for all you know.
No,
if that's true,
no one thinks the Easter Bunny is a god, except maybe the people who are buying the chocolate crucifix fear that other people think the Easter Bunny is a god.
It's supernatural.
Being supernatural doesn't equal being a god.
It doesn't preclude it either.
Yeah, but just because something doesn't preclude something doesn't make it true.
No, but it doesn't rule it out either.
Are unicorns gods because
Why
they
not?
possibly
the rainbows shoot out of them?
Do they though, or is that just something that everyone made up?
I mean, it could be.
But I just think that you're so wrong that I don't even know how to explain to you how wrong you are. I think that the same person that thinks that the Easter Bunny is a god is the person.
Why does someone have to think it's true?
No, because I feel like you've adopted the line of reasoning that the people who and see, here's where we don't do Santa either, but for other reasons. But your line of reasoning about the Easter Bunny being a god is the same as people who refuse to acknowledge Santa because they think that Santa is actually Satan in disguise. That's the same person that thinks that the Easter Bunny is a god.
Wait a second.
Yes.
I'm not calling the Easter Bunny the devil.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying I think you, if you're looking for another group of people to agree with you that the Easter Bunny is a god that we're worshipping in chocolate, I think that those are the people who will join you.
I don't need anyone to agree with me. I'm just saying, and nor does a god. Like a god, I think you're totally wrong. I think something can be a god and no one else can even recognize it.
No.
Okay.
I just don't think you're right.
All right.
And you're definitely not right about chocolate bunnies.
What?
A chocolate bunny is not to pagans what a chocolate crucifix is to Christians.
It could be to somebody.
It's not to someone, but as a blanket, statement, I think if I round up some pagans right now, they will tell you it's not.
Probably shouldn't round them up. They wouldn't appreciate that.
If I explain to them why they need to be here, I think some of them will come willingly.
You're probably wondering why I've called you into this windowless van.
Well,
it's to prove to my husband that he's wrong.
I think they'll support me in this.
Will you provide snacks?
Yes.
Okay.
I will.
Fruit snack patches?
You could be here for several hours.
They are Easter themed, so you should be happy. Or unless you're not.
Unless you don't want to eat. They are gummy rabbit shaped, so maybe you don't want to eat them.
Okay. But getting back to the crosses. We're on quite a tangent there, but
I think we agree that the chocolate crosses are weird.
Yes, it's wrong.
Should not be eaten.
They shouldn't exist.
Yes.
They're wrong.
Another thing that should not exist that I've seen is, and this is more just purely for this is disgusting reasons, not because it's wrong in the same level, is flavored edible Easter grass. So like instead of the like crinkle paper in the bottom of the Easter basket, you're supposed to just like put this, like, it looks kind of like the crinkled paper, but apparently it's edible. But, like, isn't that just going to, like, melt onto all the other things you put in the basket and be disgusting?
Yeah, you don't have to sell me on why that's gross.
Yeah, but, like, why does that exist? I feel like it's possibly exists slightly in relation to, like, I know some people are like, you shouldn't use the crinkle Easter grass because it's, like, not good for the earth.
How?
Just because it's, like, a waste of paper. But I save the crinkle paper, so... I feel like it's kind of an eco-shaming, where it's like, me, the individual person, shouldn't use a small amount of crinkly paper that they're going to, like, be reusing for the next 10 years.
No,
It's like, no, I don't think I'm the problem here.
No, obviously not. But I think, going back to the crucifix, I think it is something that we've struggled with in that it's a pretty gruesome story, even if you think it has a happy ending. Yeah,
no, as far as just, like, talking to our kids about like the Christian Easter story, it is difficult because I think our kids are pretty sensitive in certain ways.
And also Christmas is like, he's born, hooray.
Yes, that's an easy story to tell. And then this is kind of like the dark, if it was a pair of bookends, this is like the dark other side of the story. I mean, and of course it's supposed to be joyful because it's like, no, he's risen, but it's hard to explain, it's hard to get kids over the hump of he was captured and murdered.
Yeah.
In, like, a really horrific way.
By the state.
Yes, like, that's kind of a hard hump to clear, to bring it back around to, like, but he has risen, hallelujah, but it's, like, for the kids, that's very devastating.
Yes.
And they're still kind of confused, and, like, we read them a couple stories about it, and, I mean, we read them, like your mom sent us a book that I thought was, like, very tastefully done.
It was helpful, and I think that, like, they're starting to understand it without being totally, like... freaked out about it.
Yeah, I've tried to kind of be soft key about it. Like, I kind of skipped over certain parts in the book. Like, I kind of was like, unfortunately, Jesus was arrested. And then I kind of skipped to his disciples feared he had died, but then the tomb was empty, like... Yeah. I mean, it's like they know what's going on, but it's a lot. It's heavy. But it's not something you can avoid. No. I mean... But it's definitely, like, it's definitely kind of tiptoe.
Mm-hmm. You do not like... hard-boiled eggs.
I dislike them. I feel like I am sounding like a person with a lot of dislikes here because I really went on and on about the chalk, but I actually really do not like hard-boiled eggs.
Which is a shame because I feel like so many Easter traditions have, like, deviled eggs in the center of them.
But I've gotten around that this year by having the kids make tiny eggs out of modeling clay that we're going to paint tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem perfectly fine with that. I mean, maybe tomorrow they'll be like, hey, we forgot to decorate Easter eggs, but I'm hoping that we'll just blow right past that. Because I honestly wouldn't mind doing the decorating of Easter eggs if anyone in our family would eat them. But you're not going to eat them.
No.
I'm not going to eat them. None of our children have so far agreed to eat any of them.
You could paint raw eggs that we would then use in all recipes that we use raw eggs for, but then...
actually, that's a genius idea. We should have done that.
We can still do it.
I mean, I feel like tomorrow's going to be pretty packed. I think the ship on that one might have sailed.
Okay.
That would have been a much better idea, though. I don't know why I never thought of that.
Would it, in any way, distort the egg inside?
I don't think so. I mean, you're still able to eat hard-boiled eggs after dyeing them. Sometimes a little dye leaches in
colored.
But it would probably be fine. Because I think usually when they get colored, it's when the shell cracks a little bit, which often happens with the hard boiling. I think the biggest danger would just be the kids dropping and breaking raw eggs all over the kitchen while we're trying to dye them. But if we could get past that part, I do think that's actually a good solution, which we should do next year. Because I really don't like the smell of hard-boiled eggs. Like, it fills the house and it's, like, impossible to get out. I feel like days later it's, like, still lingering.
My mom used to pack hard-boiled eggs sometimes in my lunch that she would I would take to school. And I just remember in the weeks after Easter...
There's a lot of Easter hard-boiled eggs.
There's a lot of Easter hard-boiled eggs to be had.
Yeah, no, my mom used to try to feed us hard-boiled eggs, like, I think fairly frequently, especially in the Easter season. I mean, we had chickens, and eggs was like a big food stores. It seems like easy to just be like, here, eat this hard-boiled egg, lots of good protein and nutrients, but that's just a no for me.
I'm past the time in my life where that's going to be happening.
Like, there are some people that like things like egg salad, and I can't go there.
No, thank you.
But we do have a ham that we're going to do for tomorrow, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
That's like a pretty traditional, like, Eastery
pineapple
thing, yeah.
Got 2 pineapples.
I noticed that. We just can't let one of them kind of fall to the side and then, like, not be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a lot of pineapple, but the way the kids like pineapple, I think that'll go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I am excited about a lot of the stuff. To go back to the Easter baskets, I mentioned, like, all the most, like, standard and boring things, but I actually do have a lot of really exciting things in the baskets.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's, like, super interested to see it all should definitely watch my video.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Of course.
And I don't do things that are super, like, yearly, if that makes sense. So all the things I picked now would be just as good next year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's, like, a good thing. And I'm excited about your Easter basket.
I'm excited about your Easter basket, too.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think that's a fun thing that we've always done, is that we've always made Easter baskets for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think everyone does that for their spouse.
Mm.
But I think it's nice.
Yeah. But springtime, though. Let's talk about springtime.
Let's do the splendors of springtime. Kind of a sequel to our splendors of autumn season.
My favorite season.
I wonder why.
My birthday's in 2 weeks. Yes. I don't know why.
Also, your favorite color is green, and this is the greenest time of year here where we are in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. Aggressively.
It's like, yes, like today when we went outside, it had snuck up just the last couple, even the last few days of just, like, the right combinations of rain and sun or whatever. It is, like, so green right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I feel like this is the time of year where, like, the outdoors is almost, like, vibrating greenness.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that is one thing that I actually really missed when we lived in California, is how green it is here.
Surprisingly, yes.
Surprisingly, because I didn't really think about that before we moved there, that it's just the different climate is just not as green.
It's just less humid.
But here, it's so humid, which is really awful in a lot of ways. But the one really nice thing about humidity is that it makes everything so lush. Mm-hmm. Sometimes of year that it's just like, it does feel like you're just, like, inside of an enchanted forest.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, like, I think nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited for spring this year because, like, all our kids are at good ages for, like, playing outside and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Lilac is, like, very physically, like, mobile and everything now. So she's really ready to, like, amble around the park and
mm-hmm.
all that. And we're hopefully going to, like, meet some horses this year. And what's your favorite thing about spring other than, it being your birthday and green?
Cadbury eggs.
Yes, and that is the Easter candy we didn't talk about. That's got to be your standard, right?
Yes, it's my favorite candy of all year.
Did you remember to get the replacement Cadbury egg?
I tried.
Were they all out everywhere?
Yeah.
Because
we started recording this podcast the other day, and
you convinced me to let you have one of the Cadbury eggs from your Easter basket.
I almost asked for another one today.
But don't you want to feel special tomorrow when the Cadbury eggs arrive?
I just always want a Cadbury egg in my mouth.
Every Cadbury egg that you eat tonight is one less Cadbury egg that will be there for you tomorrow.
I can't hear you over this Cadbury egg.
Mm-hmm. I do think the Cadbury egg is pretty splendid, just in that. Is it the most decadent food of all time?
I love how it's so, like, there's no pretense, you know? You're eating an egg of deliciousness that's chocolate, and
I still maintain, and I know I've tried to tell you this before and you, like, poo-pooed me, but I think that the Cadbury egg is, like, the grocery store version of something that could be, like, a really, like, high-class confection. Like,
I'll believe it when I have it.
I want to someday make, like, a chocolate egg with, like, our own filling. I think it would be amazing.
This is like when you were working at Starbucks and you got so offended that I liked the bottled Frappuccino more than the Frappuccino that they made in the store.
It's also like how it upsets me that you like the little crescent rolls that come in the tube so much.
So good.
But once you've had the real version, how can you go back to those?
It tastes a certain way.
I don't know. I think I'm just past that point of, like, I've tasted certain things enough to just,
you have a more refined palate than me.
I suppose that's true. I mean, I'm trying to find a way to say that. I feel like I'm sounding, like, super, like, snobby or something here, but
no, you know what you like, and you like usually the more expensive items.
It's not because they're more expensive. It's just
I'm
because
not
they're
saying
better.
that. It's because I'm just saying it just.
I just like nice
out
things.
that way.
Okay.
It doesn't, there's nothing
I can
wrong with
just
that.
feel the niceness, and I like it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Not nice things offend me.
And I don't like the lower version of everything.
I know, there's just certain things.
There's just certain things that are just, I just don't think you need to, like, you need to take it any further. You've already perfected it. Stop digging, you've hit gold.
I'm not trying to say that Cadbury eggs are bad. I'm just saying that I think one day I'm going to make you a Cadbury egg.
Okay, well, you show me the store where I can go buy one of those, and I will do that.
Well, I think that we need to go to, like, more of, like, a fine confectionery, like a fine chocolatier or something.
Do I have to call it a chocolatier?
Yes. Or possibly
if you
a
want to be served.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, a nice candy maker, or, like, this is, like, the kind of thing that, like, in the fantasy where you're in Paris and you're, like, walking down the street and obviously there's a view of the Eiffel Tower and you're, like, shopping, and then you duck into a little shop and there's, like, the little candies and the things. This is, like, the thing that in that fantasy you stumble upon if you happen to be there at Easter.
Okay. I'm not
What?
usually in that situation, so...
But if you were, you have to admit it would be glorious.
I would love that. That would be amazing.
I'm just saying, like, you can't say that wouldn't be nice.
Yes, you can.
Or possibly I could see the same situation happening maybe in, like, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere with, like, more of, like, a long tradition of, like, fine chocolate work.
A guy peering at a ladle.
Yes. A woman mixing the fresh cream with the various flavors that she's going to put into the interior of the Cadbury egg.
Hand mixing.
Yes. Or possibly with some kind of, like, a bespoke whisking implement. But what else do you like about springtime?
I like your seeds.
My seeds are doing really, really well. I'm actually worried the nasturtiums are doing too well. They're like, I only planted them. I mean, they've only been up for maybe a week, but they're already so tall. They're probably like 5 inches tall today. I'm afraid they're going to get too big for the little seed planters things I have before the frost is over. So we are planning a whole bunch of stuff. We've taken advantage for the first time this year of the seed library at our library.
They have a lot of variety.
Yeah, and that's a new thing. I feel like I noticed a few years ago one of the libraries we go to had it, and now you said it's at all of them.
Yeah, they all have their own one.
Yeah, and that's like super fun to be able to get like free and different seeds.
People bring their own too. There's a side table where people like just help yourself to.
My mom would be super excited about that because she does like seed saving. Like she's a part of like seed saving organizations where you like exchange with people like sort of like antique is not the right word. Some of it is antique, but like really old like heirloom varieties of seeds and things you exchange and then you like grow them and you give other seeds to people just to like keep like weird or unusual, you know, less popular varieties of things alive.
Hers are probably not GMO, I imagine.
No, probably not. I think that's one of the reasons that the organizations exist is because these are seeds that are like harder to find now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the less popular squash and like the weird flowers and like the like unusual tomatoes and all those things.
I thought some of those were like kind of a lot of conditions on growing them.
Well, there are a few that you got that I won't be planting because they said they'll take like 300 days to like mature or something like that. And it's like
in
I don't
2
know.
years you will love
it's
this.
like I don't even know if I'll still be living here then. So
Right?
like I mean, we're not in like our forever home by any means. So it's like I'm not looking to like invest in flowers that will be here in several years.
This is for people that are like planning for like they have a 5-year plan for their garden.
Which I totally am all about when I'm actually planning.
But I'm saying like that's just not.
No, I'm looking for flowers that are going to look good.
We're looking for
this summer and fall, and then you know, and that's pretty much.
We're looking for annuals, not perennials.
Yes.
I think all perennials are the ones mostly that I have that kind of timeline.
We also don't have the best lighting, so we mostly got things that can go in,
partial.
Shade. Although I did experimentally plant some pumpkins and some sunflowers. Even though they might not do well, I just wanted to see because we love them, so I figured we'd see if some of them might be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, if we move and take some of the plants with us, we can take them and maybe they'll get happy. If we like move them before it's like too late.
Dramatic resurgence.
Yeah, if you were a sunflower struggling and then you moved to a new home where there was more sun, you'd probably be pretty psyched, right?
It's like July. Oh, it's July.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird there's dandelions blooming outside now, too. I think
they're everywhere.
I felt so bad for Emerald the other night when she picked those dandelions. We took a walk, like, before bedtime, and she picked the dandelions. She said that they were sad because she could see they were closing up because the sun went down. She wanted to rescue them by bringing them back to her house, and then I saw her the next day holding, like, the wilted dandelion flower up to... She was holding it up to the lamp. I think she was hoping it would open back up, and I was like, oh, baby, I think it's gone.
Oh, no.
I know.
That's so bad, no?
I know.
Mm.
She'll recover when she sees the amazing things that she's getting in her Easter basket tomorrow, though. And beside her Easter basket, because I went for some real interesting items this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did not get her a bunny.
You mean a live bunny?
Yeah.
I got her several bunny-shaped items, and that will have to be enough.
How excited would you be if you got her a real bunny?
I mean, you have to admit all of our kids would be excited.
Yes, I guess so.
As much as I don't want to do that, the level of excitement would probably be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
At least for, like, a couple weeks until... My main concern is that, like, the fire alarm would go off and then it would, like, die of fear or something, and then... Because I know that can happen. Like, bunnies can get startled by loud noises and just, like, drop dead. And that would be so traumatizing for the kids that I feel like it would cancel out all of the good times.
Get a very severe lesson of death immediately.
But I do think, if we ever are in a point where we have the right setup and maybe don't have any other pets, I would totally get a Holland Lop because have you seen them?
Mm-hmm.
They're so cute. And can you imagine how much the kids would like one?
Can you imagine how mad they would be at our other pets if they ate the bunny?
That's why I said...
they would never forgive them.
But that's why I said, like, if our other pets were to go on a long vacation permanently.
Yes.
No, I'm just saying, like, our other pets...
They're predators.
And they're very old, so they're not going to be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it seems like they're going to be here forever because they've been here for like such a long time.
They've already been here longer than I could have ever.
I feel like we have friends who've gotten pets and had their pets pass away and gotten new pets in the length of time that we've had our pets.
Several. Yes.
Like, for whatever reason, our pets are just like in it for the long haul, which is great. I mean, I sound so like whatever, but it's just like at this point we have to admit our pets are kind of old.
They are, but they don't seem like they're going anywhere either.
No, but I don't think the kids are unfortunately getting as much out of them as they would be if they were at a different point in their life cycle.
They're kind of cranky.
There's, like, I feel especially bad for Lilac because I think the older two kids remember more good times with the pets. Whereas Lilac, I feel like she's, like, afraid of Spike because he always tries to take her food. And he was never quite as mean to the bigger kids, but I feel like he's just stopped caring in his old age. Like, he will knock a baby down to, like, take their sandwich, like, he does not even care.
Or a banana.
Yeah, and Willow is just, like, a little scratchier than she used to be. A little snarlier, you know.
Voice is slightly shriller.
I'm just saying, like, one day those pets are not going to be with us. And at that point, I would consider getting a rabbit.
They're cute.
If we had, like, I was thinking, like, if we had, like, a screened-in, like, back porch.
I'm done having caged animals in my life, though.
I am, too. But, like, you know that you can house train a rabbit.
You can house train a rabbit if you'd like. Won't be house training any rabbits personally, but...
I think once you see how cute the Holland Lob is, you might change your mind.
Mm-hmm. Can it flush the toilet, too?
No. I think it just goes in, like, a little corner box. And
no. A rabbit.
It's not, yes. It's not ideal, but, like, it's better than nothing.
It's true.
I mean, I don't totally want a rabbit.
What about an outdoor hutch?
I'm worried, though, because, like, the House Rabbit Society of America says that that's cruel.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Probably because they're the House Rabbit Society of America. I only know about this because, like, I went down a wormhole after reading one of Amy Sedaris' books, and, you know, she's a big house rabbit supporter.
Yes.
But you are supposed to keep them in your house.
Okay.
If they're a house rabbit. I think, though, if you just get one from, like, a farmer, you can probably keep it outside. Just because, I mean, that's more the conditions it's used to. But you still have to make sure it has, like, heating and cooling enough, you know. You don't want it to just, like, freeze or, like, broil or something.
Yeah.
No, I don't really want a rabbit that badly. It's just every time I see a Holland Lob for, like, about 60 seconds, I am totally like, I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember all the reasons why I really don't want to do it. But one of the reasons why I could do it is that the kids would be really excited. And if there was a live rabbit here tomorrow, that would be thrilling for them.
Although you're not supposed to give living things as pets.
You're not. You mean as gifts?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you can, though, if it's something that you are going to give them anyway, kind of like how I was saying about the shoes. If you're going to get it for them anyway, like if you've already decided to get a rabbit, but like it aligns for you to get the rabbit for Easter, you might as well. What you shouldn't do is get a rabbit just because it's Easter. Mm. Or get a rabbit for someone.
I've just seen
as
like signs up at like certain shelters I've been to that are like, please don't do this.
But what they mean more is like, you shouldn't surprise someone with a rabbit for Easter. Like, let's say you and I are making each other Easter baskets, but we're just dating. But we're just dating. And like, we don't live together. You shouldn't like surprise me with a rabbit. Like, show up at my house and be like, Happy Easter. That's a huge mistake.
It's a very Andy Bernard idea.
Yes. I mean, it's not quite as bad as, like, all the Lucky's leg, like the...
But he also got a cat for Angela.
Yes, but I think that's...
Or no, that was Dwight. Never mind, sorry.
No, Andy captured that cat, because that's how he finally won Angela over, when she wouldn't date him, and then he captured that cat.
Right.
But it was actually the cat that I think Dwight had already tried to give her.
Previously in the same day.
Yes, but then Andy recaptured it and gave it to her, and she accepted it from him. Mm-hmm. But my point, though, is that you shouldn't surprise someone with a pet. Mm-hmm. If you're the parent and you're planning to buy a pet for your child anyway, I think in that case you can give them the pet whenever you want.
True.
Because that's not quite the same. I think the problem is if you surprise someone with a pet they don't actually want, and then it's like they're going to like probably get rid of it. Or you surprise someone with a pet they want, but they would have wanted to pick it out themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because theoretically, like, especially if you're us and your pets are going to live for, like, the next million years, you possibly want to have, like, selected them yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, even if I say I want a dog, like, I probably want to pick the dog out. I don't want you to just randomly show up with a dog.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so, I mean, the same with a bunny. Like, if I was going to get a bunny, I would want to, like, pick it out. But if I was getting a bunny for the kids, I would also want to pick it out. Because I don't know if I would trust them to pick the right bunny.
I don't think bunnies live that long, though, do they?
I think that some of them can live for a decent while. I mean, 5 to 7 years, question mark. I think 3 to 7 years, maybe. I mean, I think it depends on maybe what kind of bunny they are and how well you're taking care of them.
Any loud noises occur?
Yes. I'm just saying, I had friends that had bunnies when I was a kid, and I mean, I remember them having the bunny when we were, like, little kids and still having the bunny later, like, maybe in high school. So I feel like the bunny made it for, like, quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else about the springtime or Easter that we didn't talk about?
I feel like there is. I mean, we talked about Easter mostly and just kind of touched on why spring is good. But, I mean, we all know that spring is good, but it does come with allergies, which is unfortunate. There are some really beautiful trees outside of our windows right now that are just blooming, and it makes everything look so nice outside, but also I can't open the windows anymore. But, no, I actually do like spring, but I don't think it's my favorite. I'm still gonna, like, keep my devotion to fall.
I understand. But
I think that, something that we didn't touch on about springtime, like something like, I feel like I've mentioned a lot of, like, complaints, so I want to, like, end on a positive note, you know?
About spring?
Yeah. I feel like there's a sense of kind of refreshment as far as, like, with homeschooling, we've kind of, like, I think gotten back into a good rhythm after kind of going through a little bit of, like, a winter slump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because in winter it's, like, you've been doing the same stuff for, like, a long time, and then you kind of get bumped off track with all, like, the holidays. So I feel like some things kind of were feeling a little stale, some things got a little disheveled, and now it feels like we've gotten kind of back into a new routine, like things are feeling, like, more exciting again, and we're also sort of coming to the point where we're finishing up some curriculum. Like, we're finishing up some curriculum now, and some projects and stuff, and also I'm starting to really look forward to, you know, what we're going to be doing in the summer, and even planning for, like, into, like, next fall and everything. So, kind of along with, like, the springy feel, there is kind of that feeling of, like, the things we've been doing all winter that had gotten kind of drab feel, like, refreshed and new again, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. I like that about spring.
Yeah.
Especially around here, because the winter's so bleak.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, the contrast to what we were just talking about with it being, you know, almost like you're in, like, a vibrant, like, enchanted forest of, like, greenery right now is that a month ago, everything was literally just gray. The trees were gray and leafless. The grass was, like, completely dead and, like, scraped away in patches.
Mm-hmm.
And the sky was, like, just a flat sheet of, like, steely gray. You know? So it's so nice to go from that to, like, everything is, like, happening again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's a good feeling. And I definitely think that's part of why the kids are, like, bouncing off the walls now, too. Because they just want to get out there. And they want their Easter things. Emerald is so worried that I forgot to, like, do the Easter shopping. Mostly because...
She kept asking you about it?
Well, the thing is that, like, I spent a lot of time, you know, like we said, like, I did a lot of, like, online shopping and stuff for Easter basket things, but I didn't want to, I don't know. I feel like if I spend too much time, like, telling the kids that I'm shopping, that makes them feel like, I don't know, I don't want it to breed, like, materialism or something. And to just have them constantly think about, like, me buying them stuff. So, whenever we've gotten some, like, packages recently from Amazon, that a lot of them were, in fact, things for the Easter baskets, I kind of, like, wouldn't admit it to them. I was like, oh, I've ordered some things, you know. But I think that the result of that is that now Emerald is worried that I, like, forgot to buy the Easter basket things. She was like, Mommy, you should really be doing some shopping for the Easter baskets because, you know, so she's a little on edge. But I've reassured her that, you know, I've got it covered. It's fine.
She does not want to be disappointed.
She does not. I don't think she'll be disappointed.
She won't be.
I mean, that's the other thing you asked me about, like, what my parameters for the Easter basket are. The other thing is that I don't do requests. Like, for Christmas, I might, like, take into account, like, things that somebody's asked for. Even for birthdays, I might be like, what do you want for your birthday? But for Easter baskets, I don't take requests from the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't try to get them the same kind of things that they would ask for or that I would buy them, like, for a birthday or Christmas. Like, there's some overlap, of course, because, I mean, there's certain things that, you know, they might like that I could potentially get another time. But, like, I try to have it be more things that are going to be a surprise, like things that they maybe haven't thought of or don't know exist.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that makes it kind of more magical and exciting. And it's also like the Easter basket shopping is a real treat for me because it's kind of more just like, what do I want to buy them?
Mm-hmm.
And what do I think would be like super fun for them to have? Whereas Christmas and birthdays, I mean, of course, there's some of that too, but it's also more like I feel a certain amount of pressure to be like, what do they want? How can I fulfill their dreams, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, I mean, I'm trying to obviously make the Easter baskets nice for them, but the dream that I'm trying to fulfill for them is to be, like, surprised and delighted.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. They're going to be really excited.
I think they will. They really want me to set the Easter baskets out so they can see them first thing in the morning, but that's not happening. So I want to get to see them seeing the Easter baskets, and, like, I feel like if Emerald thought the Easter baskets were going to be out here, she would, like, come out of her room at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning to see them. So she's really not.
She might still try to do that.
Yeah.
Well, happy Easter, Ash.
Happy Easter, Rob.
Join the Rob Burgess Show mailing list. Go to tinyletter.com/The Rob Burgess Show and type in your email address. Then respond to the automatic message. Also, please make sure to comment, follow, like, subscribe, share, rate, and review everywhere the podcast is available, including iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Twitter, Internet Archive, TuneIn, RSS, and now Spotify. The official website for the podcast is www.therobburgessshow.com. You can find out more about me by visiting my website, www.thisburgess.com. If you have something to say, record a voice memo on your smartphone and send it to therobburgessshow@gmail.com. Include voice memo in the subject line of the email. Also, if you want to call or text the show for any reason, the number is 317-674-3547. Until next time.